Madam Speaker, another day, another shooter on our streets. This time, a 21-year-old dirtbag, or as described by a veteran detective, a muppet, with a record of 21 failures to comply with court orders, and not surprisingly, out on bail, sent a young cop to the emergency ward with a bullet in his gut. This NDP Liberal government's hug-a-thug mentality is putting cops and the public in emergency rooms and in morgues. When will this government prioritize safety rather than empathy for cop shooters?
Hear, hear.
Criminals in general.
The Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That last statement is just outrageous. I live in the City of Toronto where this police officer worked. Myself, my family, and my neighbours rely on them every single day, and we're grateful for the work they do.
Hear, hear.
Hug a thug. That's the Liberal policy.
This member is a former Crown prosecutor, as he likes to remind us time and time again. It's provincial responsibility to deal with the enforcement of bail laws. The Crown prosecutors are appointed by the province of Ontario. The justices of the peace who administer the laws are appointed and paid for by the province of Ontario. He's asking the wrong people the question.
The honourable member for Brent.
Almost everyone they arrest is out on bail. No one stays in jail where they belong. And they laugh. This is the president of the Toronto Police Association. Wake up. Whoa! Canadians are waking up to more news of shootings and murders. The minister bragged that his bail reform bill would make our streets safer. But the truth is, more criminals are out on bail, and Canadians are more frightened than ever. This bill is a complete failure. How many more lost lives is it going to take for the government to finally embrace jail, not bail, for serious violence?
Hey, yo, put some W's in the chat for Uncle Brock.
And he's pointing in the wrong direction. Right. There are justices of the peace every day in the province of Ontario who are releasing people on bail because of the inhumane conditions.
James Maloney, more like James Baloney.
I had a question. We allow the Parliament Secretary to answer. Order! From the top.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
She's going to throw a shoe at you if you don't stop talking.
In the province of Ontario, there are justices of the peace who are appointed by the provincial government, who are letting people out on bail because the conditions inside provincially built, provincially funded, and provincially operated prisons are inhumane and not okay for people, even prisoners, to be in. There is judicial decisions by justices of the peace who have considered this fact regularly, and they said until those conditions change, that's going to be a major consideration when they're listening to bail applications.
The honourable member for Kildonan.
Yeah, she's scarier than Greg Fergus.
Speaker, after 9 years of these Liberals, of these NDP Liberals, violent crime in Canada is up 50%. That is their responsibility, Madam Speaker, and it's really no wonder. Police report there are 790 repeat violent offenders just walking the streets in Mississauga and Brampton. Police say almost everyone they arrest is out on bail, yet Liberals have made it very clear, especially yesterday in question period, that they support repeat violent offenders getting bail, no matter what, no matter who gets hurt, Madam Speaker. What is it going to take for the Liberals to realize that their catch and release policies are costing innocent Canadians their lives?
Wow. Welcome back, Raquel.
They just don't understand, Madam Speaker. They don't want to understand, Madam Speaker. The laws are in place. They can't be enforced properly because the province is underfunding the system. 1 hour ago, none other than Ben Mulroney was on his podcast, and he said one of the biggest problems is the lack of resources provided by the provincial government in the province of Ontario, and that's why people are getting out on bail. Full stop. They need to pay attention, look in the right direction. The laws here are in place. They stop sensationalizing and be serious.
The honourable member for Dartmouth Cole Harbour.
Madam Speaker, the Halifax Regional Municipality is home to a thriving maritime defence industry. Fleet Week, the Halifax International Security Forum, and of course our Atlantic Navy Fleet. In Dartmouth Cole Harbour alone, we're home to a thriving defence innovation ecosystem, including the Centre for Ocean Ventures and Entrepreneurship and hundreds of startups and established companies working and innovating in this sector. Can the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of National Defence share with this House how our government's investments in defence and industry will benefit the Halifax Regional Municipality, Canada, and the world.
Speaker, the minister from Edmonton misled committee when he testified that he had no communications with his shady business partner at or around the time of an alleged $500,000 fraud implicating a Randy. But when phone records demonstrated that that wasn't true, he changed his story and admitted to phoning and texting the shady business partner at that very time. If the minister isn't for Randy implicated in the alleged fraud, why did he mislead committee?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Well said.
Yes, Madam Speaker, it's all about character assassination from the Conservatives. Not once, but twice, the minister in question has actually been cleared by the Ethics Commissioner. Having said that, Madam Speaker, instead of attacking personalities day in and day out, maybe the Conservative Party should start listening to what Canadians are wanting to deal with. Why isn't the Conservative Party being a little bit more forthright on what their hidden agenda is really about? Canadians want to see a dental program, a pharmacare program, a school food program, a child care program, and a healthy health program.
Member for St. Albert, Edmonton.
Okay.
Madam Speaker.
I'll admit that in a perfect world, in a perfect economy where people are thriving, sure, those social programs sound good. They might actually be good, right? Again, keyword, in a perfect world with a more perfect economy than what we have right now. But as we're realizing, that's not the case. That's not the case. Eggs are what, 10 bucks? I don't know. My wife does most of the grocery shopping, I'll be honest. But when I do go, I look at the prices, or when I look at the bill, I go, what? What the hell is this? Things are so expensive. You know where I go out for food, right? We don't go to restaurants. We don't go to the Keg or, not Chuck E. Cheese, but other family-friendly restaurants. You know where we go on our outing with our family? We go to Costco. There ain't nothing wrong with it. In fact, I love it and I brag about it. But nonetheless, $1.50. Here's what we get. This is how insane our economy is. We go to Costco and we get 2 hot dog combos for $1.50 each, and then a poutine. And then what we do is we each take a part of our hot dog and we cut it off for our daughter so that we lose equally. The parents lose equally the amount for of their hot dog. And then we open up the container for the poutine. We divide it 50-50, and then we set aside equally the same amount for our daughter. There you go. That's how we do it. We don't go to McDonald's because it's like $12. There's no more Toucan Dine for $9.99. It's Toucan Dine for an arm and a leg, right? Plus 99 cents. Are you kidding me? We got a budget. You got a budget. There's no more family outings at McDonald's. And don't even get me started on Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen's insane. You go and you get a cup of ice cream or a cone of ice cream. And it's crazy. It's like $5.99 for like a small ice cream. McDonald's does cheaper ice cream and then it's smaller. And then you go to Costco and you get a big thing of ice cream for like $3.99. Our outings, family feeds 2 adults and our daughter that is just about to turn 2. $9.64. 2 hot dog combos and a poutine. And that's what we do. And we do that maybe once a week, might even do that tonight. Hell, why not, right? Maybe once every couple of weeks, right? But that's our outing. That's what we do. Yeah, it's repetitive, and sometimes we switch it up and we get one of those huge, large pizzas, the pre-made one at the cafeteria in Costco for $12.99 or $13.99. But that's what we do. And for these people to say that, these social programs are great, dude, when you're not even going to McDonald's and you're going to Costco because there's one OG board member who has literally said to everybody else, if you change the price of the concession, I will personally write you off. I'm going to gone. Done, finito. He said that on the record. Pretty boss status to say that. I'm not going to lie, right? Costco is the last stronghold for a cheap outing for food. And it's not really they got the dinette area, right? But it's not made for that, but we still do it nonetheless. So that's not a good economy when that is what when not that I am the gold standard for what a good economy is or not. But nonetheless, if people are resulting to that, if people are resulting to literally just crunching pennies on groceries, limiting how much they're going out, right? You can't buy steak because it's so expensive, right? You certainly don't want to go out to a fancy restaurant like a Keg and buy steak. It's $45 for the steak, and then you end up eating all the freaking bread. You stuff up on bread and water because it's free, right? It's included, and then you take your steak, half of it to go home. Like that's not a thriving economy. So spending billions of dollars on these social programs, sure, it seems great in theory, but it's the wrong time. It might be a good idea, or it might even, hell, I'm going to make the argument that it might even be the right idea, but the wrong time. And that's what matters, right? These social programs, if we were thriving, if our dollar was phenomenal, if people had a lot of money coming in, savings were good, we didn't have to worry about housing, everyone's happy. You know, it doesn't seem that far long ago. We were kind of living there and we kind of took it for granted. At least I did, looking back, 2020 hindsight, right? If we were in that position again right now or coming up, then sure, then social programs, we can revisit that. But right now, it's a good idea in certain cases, but it's the wrong time. And that can exist. It can be a good idea at the wrong time. And that's what we're finding. It's unfortunate, man. It's really unfortunate.
Here, let's get this straight. Text messages implicating Randy. The minister's shady business partner can't identify another Randy. We know that the minister contacted his shady business partner at the time of the alleged fraud, and text messages place the Randy in Vancouver at the same time as the minister. How much evidence is it going to take for the Prime Minister to fire this corrupt minister?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I've already answered that question. And at the end of the day, Madam Speaker,
oh, you hear the hyena?
To take for the
that wasn't me.
Party and the leader of that far-right Conservative Party to understand that there is an obligation to be responsible here in Ottawa on the floor of the House of Commons, Madam Speaker. That means allowing debates to occur on the important issues that Canadians are facing today. Instead of focusing their attention on the Conservative Party, Madam Speaker, they should be focusing their attention on Canadians.
Hear, hear. The member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, the member dodged the question the first two times, so let's give him a third time. The Minister of Employment and his business partner, Stephen Anderson, have refused to cooperate with an investigation into their fraud-ridden company.
Here we go.
For months, this minister claimed that he had no communication, that he wasn't the one referenced in the text, and that he had nothing to do with his former business partner. Finally, after relentless pressure, the minister admitted he did text his business partner, and he even called him to discuss their business, something he's prohibited from doing by law. Why did the minister, who claimed he had nothing to hide for months, hide this damning evidence?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Well said, sir.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I've indicated very clearly the Ethics Commissioner, which is an independent office of the House of Commons, has not once but twice cleared the minister. Having said that, Madam Speaker, my challenge to the Conservative Party across the way is to understand that they actually have a responsibility to Canadians that goes beyond serving the Conservative Party of Canada. Madam Speaker, I would suggest that they are doing a great disservice to Canadians in every region of the country by the behaviour that they take day in and day out on the floor of the House of Commons.
Member for Sturgeon River Parkland.
Well, Madam Speaker, I would say that this Liberal government has a responsibility to tell Canadians the truth.
Wow.
The minister, only after turning over his phone to the Ethics Commissioner, only after months of relentless pressure, finally admitted that he did indeed talk to his business partner, something he's not allowed to do under law. He admits that they discussed business, and this was after his business partner lied to a parliamentary committee by ridiculously claiming that the 9 references to the minister was just an autocorrect. If the minister can't be trusted to disclose what he called just an innocent conversation, how can he be trusted to be truthful?
The Parliamentary Secretary.
Dropping a bomb, eh?
Not once, but twice the Ethics Commissioner has cleared the minister. That is the truth. The member makes reference to the truth. Seriously, Madam Speaker, this comes from a Conservative, that ultimately a Conservative party that spreads so much misinformation and false facts, fake news, you name it. Social media, Madam Speaker, when are they going to start to be honest with Canadians? What their hidden agenda is all about? I'll tell you why, because they know that
The honourable member.
Just because you start screaming that somebody is calling mis and dis or spreading mis and disinformation doesn't mean that that's true. Like this is what's wrong with these people is they just scream into the void and they make these wild accusations and they don't have anything to substantiate their claims. What is the mis and disinformation that you're claiming? Right? I literally caught you. I fact checked you on this live stream. Are you spreading mis and disinformation? Can now the Conservatives say that you're spreading mis and disinformation, Kevin? Like it's just ridiculous, man. These people are nuts. Also, great to see Dane Lloyd back in the House. He hasn't really made too many appearances.